In this one, I'm going to show you a couple of techniques and tricks for starting an IV. So we're going to assume we're going to start an IV on this patient, and sometimes you'll notice that some patients have really good veins. You'll see them in advance, and others you have to do a little bit of looking. So I'm going to put my tourniquet on, and one of the things that I've found is it depends on how big a hurry you're in. Some people like to put the tourniquet up high around the AC area and then start looking from there down. Generally what I've noticed is if I do that, the hands will back up and you'll get good veins, but it usually takes a little bit longer because it takes a while to build that pressure. So if I want to start the IV, if I'm looking in the back of the hand, I'll put the tourniquet just a little closer to that. So let's start there and see what happens here. Okay, and then one of the things that I can do is rub it and smack it. You can have the patient drop it down, squeeze your hand a couple of times, make me a fist. Okay. And something else that works really well is the alcohol prep. And you'll get a nice vein sometimes pop up. Okay. Now in this particular patient, I'm going to look in the back of her hand, and let's say I'm going to start right here. It's not the best choice, but let's say it's the best one that she has. So one of the things that I want to do is I usually have the patient grab my hand, and I stick 1 or 2 fingers inside their hand, no more than 2, because when you give them 2 fingers, then or more than 2 fingers, you got a chance of them really being able to do some damage and hurt you. But in this particular case, I'm going to give her a couple of fingers, and then one of the techniques that I like to do is give her 2 fingers, grab the palm of the hand, and then pull down, so that, and I use my thumb to pull down and pull the skin taut. And by pulling the skin taut like that right there, what it does is it helps anchor those veins, so that as you stick and advance, the veins are less likely to roll around on you. So again, let me do it from a different angle. Let me see this hand. Okay. So what I do is, notice how I give her the palm of my hand. I do it like this so you can see. I give her 1 or 2 fingers. Okay. And in this case, I'll do it like that. 2 fingers. Okay. And then grab, pull. You'll notice how I'm grabbing and pulling, and then anchor that down. And that way when I stick, that vein is nice and well anchored underneath there. So let's see what she's got over on this side. See how I just naturally stick those fingers in there and pull down, and that way I can anchor the skin. Okay. And then another thing, especially if you're riding the back of the ambulance, you can change the battery. It don't work. Yeah. So if you're riding in the back of the ambulance, you can lay your hand either on the patient. I like to bring them over if I'm sitting on a bench seat and actually lay the bottom side of my hand here actually on my leg, so I get something a little bit more stable before I actually have to stick. Because if you're moving down the road, you know that your hands are moving and the ambulance is moving, so one of the things that I like to do is try and anchor as much as I can. So another technique that I use, and I've noticed a lot of other people do it as well, wherever I'm going to stick the patient, I normally, I stick with this hand like this. So what I'll do is I'll take my free fingers and actually lay them on the patient somewhere away from where I'm going to stick, so that, as you can see, I'm anchored with this hand is laying on the bench, this hand is anchored on the patient, and in that way I've got taut, and I can do that while I'm moving down the road. It makes things a whole lot easier for me, a whole lot more stable.